My name is Jamin Goecker. I'm a realtor with Keller Realty in South Central Alaska, and my mission is to help you to build an intentional and significant legacy for yourself and your family by coaching you in real estate. And today, what we're going to be talking about is what's going on in new construction really across the entire state, looking at Anchorage, the Matsu Valley, and the Kenai Peninsula. Today's question comes from Dennis Smith II or Dennis Smithel. I'm not really sure which one it is, but he had a really good question just asking what's going on in the new construction across these different markets. I did a market update a little while ago talking about what's going on in the new construction market, just specifically for the Matsu Valley. And today what we're going to be doing is just taking a bit broader of a perspective and just seeing what's going on in the new construction really across the entire state, looking at the three biggest markets that we have, which is going to be Anchorage, the Matsu Valley, and the Kenai Peninsula. Not in that order, by the way. So before we get started though, give this video a like, subscribe if you haven't done so already, and let's go and jump into the video today. Now, the first thing that we're going to start off with is just giving you some stats at the state level. So we're not going to break down any of the specific markets just yet. Let's just look at the entire state. So right now, as of the recording of this video, there are 222 properties that are available on the market. 653 of those have already sold or pended over the past 12 months, which is, actually doing pretty good. Now, of all these properties, all but 52 of them are with a general contractor. So you do get some owner builders here and there, but for the most part, it's a general contractor kind of a space. Kind of talking a little bit more about the owner builder scenario, it's very, very common in the Matsu Valley and in Anchorage that you're going to have a general contractor. If you do have an owner builder, just from what I've noticed, I don't have any stats to back this up, but it seems to be way more common over on the Kenai Peninsula. Now, one other thing that I really want to emphasize to you is new construction is really, really going to be the place where the Matsu Valley really shines. About 72% of the properties that have sold or pended in the past 12 months have been in the Matsu Valley. Okay, and keep in mind, not a huge portion of the state lives here. I heard a stat one time, it was about 14% of the state lives in the Matsu Valley. That's probably gone up since then. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was closer to about 20% now, but you can see that here's a really disproportionately large amount of the new construction that's going on in the entire state. So that's number one. New construction is really going to be big in the Matsu Valley, and you're going to see that reflected in just a minute. So let's go ahead and take a look at that. Now we're going to break down each one of these specific markets, and what I really want to know here is number one, what's the size, what's the average sold price, what's the average cost per square foot, and what's the days on market. In other words, how long can we expect a property to be on the market before it's just gone? If it's really low, that means there's a really high demand. So looking first off over in the Matsu Valley, we see that the average size is going to be about 1,900 square feet. So, kind of a young family, maybe a beginner kind of a home, depending on how much space you need. But that's kind of the size that we see on average in the Matsu Valley. Now, looking at the average sold price, it's about $459,000, $239 per square foot, and the average days on market is going to be 41. So that's kind of the standard right off the bat here. So doing pretty good in the Matsu Valley. Now, the second market we're going to look at is Anchorage. So in Anchorage, you don't see as much movement in the new construction sphere as you do see out in the Matsu Valley. But just in comparison, we said the Matsu Valley is about 1,900 square feet. In Anchorage, it's 2,600 square feet. The average sold price is about $716,000 approximately. So right off the bat, we can see, okay, well, the properties are larger, that's number one, but also, that's probably goes a long way in explaining why it's just so much more expensive, because the average sold price over in the Matsu Valley is about, about $459,000, and it's about $716,000 over in Anchorage. So let's go and take a look at the average sold price though, and see how it compares to the Matsu. Okay, so it is about $284 per square foot if you're looking at Anchorage. So not only is it a lot more square footage, but it is more expensive because the average price per square foot over in the Matsu Valley is about $239. So it's about approximately $35, $40 per square foot more in Anchorage than what it is in the Matsu Valley. Okay, so that's pretty significant right off the bat. And the days on market in Anchorage is about 56. So they're definitely sitting there for quite a bit longer than the new construction properties over in the Matsu Valley. Because keep in mind, it takes a lot of effort to really move the days on market, because it includes everything from the property that's sold on the first day to the property that's been sitting on the market for a year. Let's take a break here real quick. For those who've been watching for a bit, you know that I host the Alaskan Journey podcast, in which I interview people who've recently moved up to Alaska, and they really do share a lot of their stories about what it's like moving up here, kind of the tips and tricks they have. You know, I'm around this stuff all the time, but I haven't recently come up here, so a lot of the stuff isn't fresh on my mind. So that's why we bring in the people who've recently gone through this and really have them share what it's like, so you hear from someone who's recently gone through what it is you're thinking about doing. So do make sure you go check that out. Link for that podcast is going to be in the description section down below. Now let's go ahead and talk about what's going on in new construction, looking specifically at the Kenai Peninsula. Now looking at the Kenai Peninsula, we see the average square footage is actually about 1,460 square feet. So that is about 1,200 square feet less than what we see over in Anchorage, and I think that's what we'll say roughly about 400 or 500 square feet less even than what we're seeing in the Matsu Valley. So new construction properties are a lot smaller over in the Kenai Peninsula than what they are elsewhere. All right, so the average sold price looking at the Kenai Peninsula is about $346,000, and that's about what we would expect for an area where the properties are so much smaller. Now, if we're looking specifically at the cost per square foot, it's about $337 per square foot. So actually really comparable to what we see over in the Matsu Valley. It's just that the properties are about 400 or 500 square feet less than what they are over in the Matsu Valley, and that's why you see that big of a price disparity. Last but not least, the average days on market looking specifically over in the Kenai Peninsula is 31 days. So, that's going to be moving pretty quickly if we're looking at new construction. So it tells us there is a lot of demand for new construction over in the Kenai Peninsula. Like I said, you see a lot more owner builds over in the Kenai Peninsula than what you see in other parts of the state. So, that's just something to keep in mind. So, what we're seeing across the board, new construction, it's here, it's not going anywhere. It's probably going to continue to be a really big part of the Matsu Valley real estate market over in Anchorage, where there's really not as much land to go around anymore. I'm not sure if that's really going to be a big part of its market anytime soon, especially because the developers aren't wanting to build anything over, I think it's 29 or 39 homes at a time in a subdivision due to some legislation that the Assembly came up with. Meanwhile, down on the Kenai Peninsula, you have a lot of people wanting to move down there as second homes, and so you get a lot of these smaller vacation homes being built, is my theory. So I sure hope this has been useful. If you have any other questions about new construction, make sure you drop those in the comments section down below. I'd be more than happy to help with those as best I can. And if you would like to receive a copy of my relocation guide, do make sure you register on my website. Link for that is going to be in the description section down below. Just go ahead and register in there. Make sure you say relocation guide in the little comment thing so I know what to send you. So thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.